Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and I'm back again with another Michael Romeo riff breakdown. This time I'm going to be looking at the song King of Terrors from the Odyssey album. Now the last video breakdown I did on Romeo's playing was intended to be a one-off, but I had so much fun with it, and you guys seemed to enjoy it, that I thought I would do another one. So I've chosen King of Terrors because it uses a technique known as metric modulation, or at least there's an example of some metric modulation in there. So we're going to use this as an example to explain and understand and demonstrate what metric modulation is and how we use it. The other thing worth noting about this particular song is when you listen to that verse riff, it's very difficult to really get your head around what the pattern is and how you can repeat this so consistently. There's definitely a trick to it, and I'm going to come and break some of that down for you. So let's check it out. So the first concept that you'll need to get your head around when analysing King of Terrors is the concept of metric modulation. Now, metric modulation is a combination of two words. Metra, coming from meter or time, and modulation, meaning change. Generally speaking, when you hear the term modulation, we're talking about a change of key. But metric modulation is about a change of time. So when looking at the example on screen, what you can see is two different time signatures, 12/8 and 4/4. There's also a change in tempo, with the first bar being at 110 BPM and the second bar being at 165 BPM. If you look very closely, you'll notice that the 110 BPM is for a dotted quarter note and the 165 is for a regular quarter note. That makes sense because 12/8 is a compound time signature, it deals in dotted quarter notes, and 4/4 is a common time signature, so it deals with standard quarter notes. In essence, what this means is that when playing our groove in 12/8, we're used to a count or a feel of 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. And the bar of 4/4 contains 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now the whole concept here of the metric modulation is that it keeps a consistent rhythm throughout this tempo change. So this bass drum here, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, will not change its speed when it goes through that time signature change. Now, without context, you're not going to hear any difference between these two sections. So I'm going to cut in some examples now. The first example will just be a bass drum playing exactly what you can see on the screen with no accents whatsoever. And then on the repeat, or the second time round, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an accent on beats 1, 2, 3 and 4. In fact, you can see those on the screen now, and I will demonstrate that, or it will be on screen when that's happening. What you'll notice is the bass drum doesn't actually change its speed. Each note is still spaced the exact same distance apart from the note before it and the note after it. But what has changed is our perspective, or our idea of where 1, 2, 3 and 4 are. So let's listen to that now. So how does this work in context? Well, if you look at the example on screen, this is basically 12/8. Okay, there's a bar of 14/8. We are going to address that as we go on. But in essence, what we're dealing with here is that same feel of 12/8. So on that bass drum, we have that 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. Now, what I've done is I've highlighted on screen where that snare drum is going to fall. That's on beats 2 and 4, standard backbeat kind of stuff. And the whole point of this is that is our groove. We have our cymbals being hit on the 1, 2 and the 3 and the 4, and we also have our snare drum on beats 2 and 4. As I say, common backbeat. You're going to hear that all over the place in rock and pop music. When we look at the bar of 14/8, what you can see on screen is I've highlighted the last part of the bar. If you ignore that part of the bar, we still have a bar of 12/8 there. We've just added an extra 2/8 notes on the end of it. So you could actually count those first two bars as 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 1, 2, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 1, 2. Let me just cut in the drums actually playing just those two bars, looping, so you can hear how that feels. Try and count along and see if you can follow what's happening. Now after that bar of 14/8, it goes back to the standard 12/8 groove. Some might argue that bar of 14/8 isn't really necessary, but this is prog, we have to mix things up obviously. So here's that entire 4-bar section looped so you can hear it in context. Now with that out of the way, we move on to the 4/4 groove. Now this is standard practice, standard rock drum playing, and it actually fights with the guitar groove considerably. When you look at this, it looks like your standard backbeat type playing. Again on screen I've highlighted where those snare drum beats are landing, and as with the 12/8 groove, they are still landing on where we perceive beats 2 and beats 4 to be. Again, cymbals playing on 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the bass drum is playing on every 8th note. So this is a pretty standard affair, very easy to hear and understand. Let me play it now for you, it will make sense. Now we understand those two sections separately, let's try putting them together so you can hear what they sound like in context. As before, try and count your way through this. This way you'll understand what's going on when it comes to playing the guitar part, which on its own is not too difficult, but when played against this groove, can trip you up. Out of the way, let's take a look at that guitar part. So in essence, this is a very simple idea harmonically, but rhythmically can be very, very tricky. On screen, I've notated the first 4 bars, so this would be the groove that's in 12/8. This could be considered quite a daunting thing to have to learn, especially with that bar of 14/8 present. But as you can see, I've highlighted the first bar of 12/8. This is a very simple rhythmic figure, something that we can get our head around quite easily. The first 2 beats features 8th notes played on the 1 and the 2, and the last 2 beats feature 8th notes played on the 2 and the 3. So in our da 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 da, we have da 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 1 2 1 2 and 1 2 1 2 2 3 2 3 1 2 1 2 2 3 2 3. That's a simple rhythmic concept, and actually when I highlight where that rhythmic figure repeats, that's the basis of this intro groove. It's not too tricky. The only thing that needs to be taken into consideration is after playing it for the second time, you can now see I've highlighted a section in green. This is an extra 2 notes that is thrown in there. Those are our extra 2 beats that turn our bar of 12/8 into a bar of 14/8. And of course the final bar is its own tricky little riff. So I don't think this one is too tricky at all. Let's play that along with the drum groove and see if you can make sense of it. Sounds like this. Tricky part. This is actually where the genesis of this video really stemmed from. I heard this album the year it came out. I can't even think when that was though, over a decade ago, and still to this day this particular riff is one that I struggled with playing because I couldn't understand or see where there was any sort of pattern. And this makes total sense when you look at it on the screen now. Every single one of these 8 bars is different, and there's no obvious repeating idea. It's a very confusing phrase. Let me just play it, and what I want you to do is listen along and see if you can, on the repeat, hum along. See if you can anticipate where each one of these notes is going to fall. It's very confusing. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to my ears, but when you dig in a lot deeper, there is a pattern here, something that we can understand. So it sounds like this. Now, of course, the reason that this sounds so jarring is that it's an odd time signature groove or an odd phrase length being played in a standard groove template. The drums are playing standard 4/4 rock drums and the guitar is really fighting the beat over the top. So I find the best way to really understand what's going on here is displayed on screen now. There's in essence a simple 6/4 groove that is played. There's a second phrase, which is actually just a bar of 1/4, and then another bar of 6/4. So as you can see on screen, I've highlighted that first phrase. We could call this A. This phrase is played. It's then played again with the addition of the bar of 1/4 after that. So we could think of that as A, moving on to A plus B. It then jumps back, plays the A section again, then plays A plus B one more time, before moving on to the third and final section, the C section. Now this sounds quite strange as a way to describe things, and Michael Romeo may not even be thinking about it in this way, but this is how I found the pattern. When practicing this in isolation, it's not all that tricky. You play your A section, da-da, 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 da-da. This then repeats, but with two notes added on the end. Da-da, 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 da-da. We then jump back and play the A section, da-da, 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 da-da. A section plus B, da-da, 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 da-da. Then moving into that C section, da-da, 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 da-da-da-da. I know that sounds crazy on its own, but when I try and loop these sections together, it should make some sort of sense. Da-da, 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 da-da. Now I understand that me vocalizing that may again appear confusing. Let me play that for you without the 4/4 drum groove. Try and process it exactly as I've described it. An A, moving on to an A plus B, an A plus B, C. A, B, A, B, C, A, B, B, C. Now, if you're still with me, things are about to get tricky. You see, playing this particular groove with a drum groove that matches up with the way you're thinking, i.e. a bar of 6/4, a bar of 6/4, a bar of 1/4, etc., will feel very easy because you're playing with the drums. But in King of Terrors, you're playing against a standard groove in 4/4. So what you're doing will fight that groove because your points of resolution don't match up. Well, they do, but it takes 8 bars in order to get there. So now let me cut in me playing that over that drum groove. See if you can count along, see if you can follow. The whole point here is it feels disjointed. They begin together, but over the course of those 8 bars, they gradually drift apart before syncing up again right at the end and coming back on the repeat. Sounds like this. There we have it, another killer riff from Michael Romeo and Symphony X. They have tons of riffs like this, and I'm really playing with the idea of doing a video like this every week to break down some of their more cool concepts. So if that is something that you would be interested in, let me know in that comment section below. Lastly, I just want to say a huge thank you to these people over here. These are some of my supporters over on patreon.com. They allow me to make videos like this. Well, they help me to justify making videos like this. It's actually 4 a.m. and I'm up making videos because I have so much fun doing it, and these guys are a real big help in allowing me to continue doing that. So thank you very much for your support, guys. If you would like to be like those people, you can check me out on Patreon. Join me for as little as $1. Gets you access to my private patron-only Facebook group. Lots of fun things going on there, transcription challenges. You can click this button up here. You can subscribe by clicking this button down here. And of course, there'll be 2 more of my videos here and here. Thank you so much for all the support, guys. Hit me up in that comment section. Much love, and I will see you for another video soon. Bye.